Alright, close your eyes and think of the word debutante ball or the term cotillion. For a lot of us, that probably conjured up images of genteel southern belles from affluent white families a la Gone with the Wind style, or even English aristocracy a la The Crown, or you may have even thought of Daphne Bridgerton sharing witty banter with the Duke of Hastings while an orchestral version of Billie Eilish's Bad Guy played in the background. But the reality is, the debutante ball actually has a long and storied history in the African American community as well. Black Americans have often had to create our own rites and rituals and carve out spaces to practice those rituals. In America, Africans were discouraged from practicing their native customs, leading to them having to get creative. For example, jumping the broom was a common practice among slaves who didn't have the legal right to get married. In the Black church, funerals are often referred to as celebrations of life, and nowhere is this more evident than in New Orleans, where jazz funerals turn the tradition of mourning on its head with lively music, dancing, and parades. Many of these practices are an amalgamation of West African, Haitian, Anglo-American, and English traditions. This is reflective of American culture itself, which has often been influenced by various English, French, Latin American, and even indigenous customs. The same can be said for debutante balls. Debutante balls, or cotillions, are a centuries-old tradition with roots in Europe as far back as the 1700s. The word debutante translates to female beginner in French and refers to a young woman making her debut into polite society. The first of these lavish events was held by King George III in 1780 in honor of his wife, Queen Charlotte. For English aristocracy, however, this practice was actually used as a glorified matchmaking service, used to announce a young woman's marriageability to eligible British bachelors. By the 1800s, the debutante ball had migrated to America, with the first Christmas cotillion taking place in 1817 in Savannah, Georgia. Just like their European counterparts, upper-class white American families used these balls as a means of presenting their daughters in hopes of finding them suitable partners for marriage, usually of the same or even higher social status. The first black debutante ball to be recorded by a newspaper actually took place in 1778 in New York. According to Taylor Bythewood Porter, curator of a museum exhibit on the culture of African American debutante balls, these events were known as Ethiopian Balls. At these gatherings, the wives of free black men mingle with the wives of British soldiers. However, the first official African American debutante ball would take place in 1895 in New Orleans. This wasn't unusual, as New Orleans had a notably large population of free and upwardly mobile black people. These numbers only grew steadily with the eradication of slavery several decades prior, and a distinct upper class had begun to flourish amongst the black community by this point. With it came a number of class-based practices, organizations, and social clubs. The 1920s begat the Harlem Renaissance, which saw a rise in black expression through creativity, as well as higher expressions of black wealth. And debutante balls were certainly wealthy and extravagant affairs. Black cotillions were usually funded by social groups and institutions such as black churches, Lynx, Jack and Jill, and the 20th Century Onyx Club, to name a few. These all-black balls served a different purpose from that of their white counterparts, in that they were actually an effort on the part of wealthy African Americans to show off the black community in a dignified and respectable manner. They combated the stereotype of broken black families by having the fathers proudly present their daughters, and disputed the damaging misconception of black women as being non-virtuous. During these events, young black women were encouraged to demonstrate good manners, grooming, and social etiquette. The skills they learned in preparation for their debuts were meant to prepare them for the world beyond the protection of their social circles, i.e., white American society. These events were also used as an opportunity to showcase the achievements of young black women, and by extension their families. With more black women entering academic spaces between the 1940s and the 1960s, an emphasis was placed on education, as well as networking, fundraising, and community outreach. Incentives such as scholarships and grants were being given to participating Debs with lofty career and educational goals. The fundraising efforts of these events were also meant to teach young Debs the importance of building wealth and giving back to their communities through charity. However, even though these may have seemed like noble causes, for a large part of its history, black debutante balls have been accused of classism and exclusion. These events often kept wealth and opportunity isolated within the ranks of the upper class, shutting out young black women from disadvantaged backgrounds who may have benefited from participating. According to Ruth Terry's interview with former Deb Heather Joy Thompson, there are administration fees just to participate, ads have to be bought in the program books, and families have to purchase a table at the ball. There are also specific requirements for the dresses, which can get even pricier considering the rarity of some of these items, especially today. Crinoline and hoops for the skirts, not to mention buying a quality gown could run you into the thousands. For underprivileged families, these expenses may simply be too costly, along with the time needed to properly prepare for a ball. In more recent years, with the attempted revival of black cotillions in the 2010s, there's been an effort to make debutante balls more affordable and accessible to black people of different socioeconomic backgrounds. Naima Cochran, organizer of the Renaissance Debutante program, stated the following: "We've had dresses donated before, and people buy sponsored tickets we can give to those who can't afford them. We just ask families to come to us, talk to us, and be transparent." It can be an attractive opportunity for college-bound high school girls, a chance to celebrate the beauty, talent, and intelligence of young black girls while keeping in touch with their roots. In a 2019 article written by Hannah Covington for the Star Tribune, former high school senior Jayden Hayes commented, "It all seems so pretentious and uppity. Now it seems really important to me to wear the dress and gloves. I am representing something important, Black history." Retired District Judge Pamela Alexander stated, "African American girls don't get a lot of positive reinforcement or feedback. They're not told that they're beautiful. This gives us an opportunity to showcase them." In recent decades, debutante balls have fallen out of favor as the newer generations begin to embrace more lax gender roles and educate themselves on the negative effects of classism. However, in the black community, there still remains a certain fondness for and deeper understanding of the long tradition as something more than a display of classist exhibitionism. For black women hoping to preserve the tradition of the debutante ball, there's a desire to continue to showcase the talent, intelligence, dignity, and beauty of the black woman.